Namaste, beloveds. This is Mutha Wit Wisdom, and I am so thankful to be here today. And yes, I'm in a different kind of regalia, I guess you could say, but it speaks very much to the mood, the energy, and the essence of energy that I'm flowing in right now. And I was going to do this on my Blog Talk Radio show, and I was talking with my friend Koya, and she's like, "Well, don't do it right now because I'm listening to Life Coach Ade and Celeste, so just wait." And so I'm like, "Okay, I'm listening, and I'm being guided by spirit, and I'm like, okay, I'll go to the show. I'll wait, and I'll see what I'm gifted with." And I'm never let down when I go to Blog Talk Radio and I listen to Life Coach Ade's Life Conversations show with Celeste Morgan. So I want to say namaste to both of you and thank you very much for having such a wonderful show. Um, it blows my mind how connected um, our thoughts are, our spiritual thoughts and our energies are focused on what is going on right now um, in on Earth. I'll put it that way. On Earth, the alignments of the universe and everything that's happening right now, the all the awareness that is coming through, that we're opening ourselves to receive and that we're expanding our base of being with. And I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to select these words so that they speak to you on many different levels, just as they've been speaking to me on many different levels. Um, this I don't want to call it a show. This sharing, there we go. This sharing um, is very special to me right now. There's a lot going on internally with me. There's a lot going on internally with everyone right now. This is a period of purification. This is a period and a time of opening ourselves and awakening and taking a stance and seeing things with new eyes and new ways of seeing, new depth, and not just an appreciation for the surface beauty, but looking for the integrity of life, not just what's been given to us, but to actually connect and feel that life is lived through us. We bring life into existence through our beingness. And we have allowed outside influences to dictate our lives. And I'm not just speaking of governments, I'm speaking of the establishment, I'm speaking of we became victims so long ago in our psyches. And we gave up the right, our natural birthright, our natural inclination of truth and integrity and pureness and innocence and fun and acceptance and responsibility for our feelings and our thoughts and our actions. We stop knowing that we are connected to each other. We stop feeling the relationship of being human. and living a human life and being a living presence and expression of the divine, and the diversity that insists upon. See, you can't limit God. You can't limit what is in all, what has always been, what has no beginning and no ending. You can't limit it with your human limitations of eyesight and knowing. You have to get past all of that. You have to get past yourself. And you do that by knowing yourself. You do that by being able to look yourself, in the eye and say, I know you. I love you. I am responsible for you now. I am responsible for my ancestors then. And I am responsible for the generations ahead of me. Life. We have to start breathing life into our beings. That is what evolution is. Evolution is getting past the concept of death. Evolution is knowing the rebirth, is connecting with the resurrection of self. It is the baptism of your thoughts being renewed. It is a connection with an energy that first brought you here. It is home. It is home base. It is the foundation. Spirit gave me a lot. I've been receiving a lot. My crutches, so to speak, are being removed from me. My reasons for always holding back, they're no longer in place. I always considered myself, and I'm always true to myself, but I always thought of my children. And that, Valerie, you can't be too outrageous, because that's going to impact them. That's going to impact how they feel and how they are seen by others and how they know themselves. But now I realize, and this is coming from a child, a grown spiritual adult who carries deep within her this inner child who came through a woman who suffered in her life, who was diagnosed as bipolar, different polarities, an up and a down, no balance in between. That when her insides were hormonally imbalanced, when her brain wasn't nourishing her in the right way because she wasn't balancing herself chemically, and she became whatever she wanted to be in that moment. If it was the most egocentric, violent, reprimanding, demanding personality, that's who she was. She was that Tyrannosaurus Rex running around. And when she wasn't at the other end, she was that victim that curls up in that fetal position, that doesn't want to get out of bed, that doesn't want to be seen, that doesn't want to breathe, that doesn't want to know, that doesn't want to feel, that just is there and is keeping at bay all of her own nightmares and demons and and everything else, just listening to all that she had absorbed in her lifetime. And as an empathic child, I, of course, was like a little sponge to all of this. And at my youngest age, I always tried to make sense of it. And I always took it to be, like every child, my fault. Something I wasn't doing good enough until I got to an age and I'm like, this isn't my fault. That's her. that is her. Okay, that's her. That's not me. And it took me a long time to get there, but in getting there, I realized that just like now, I am, even though my mother has passed on, I am represent her in a way that will be passed down generations, regardless of what my childhood was. And no matter how many times I said to myself, I'm not going to raise my children the way you raised me. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. You know, been so many times when I found myself unconsciously not knowing how to deal with the situation with my children. Instantaneously, I jump into, my mother's name was Juanita, and I jump into Juanita mode. And, you know, my daughter and her family have just moved away. And I was a single mother. I was pregnant with her at the age of 17, and I had her at the age of 18. And she's been with me all that time. In the past 2 years, we have just separated households. Okay? So I am growing in ways that I had never envisioned myself in growing and expanding, because I just never let myself be, you know, this expansion because of what someone else would say, or what I would say to myself, and just coming out of boxes, you know, destroying these boxes and really looking at what life is, what it means to me as a human being, not just as a mother, not just as a woman, not just as a woman of color, not just as a spiritual woman, not just as a sexual woman, not just as a sensual woman, not just life, you know, the connection to all. And the snake and the bee have come to me for these reasons. Snake and the bee have just been resonating with me. Also, the dragonfly. Okay, but I'm skipping way ahead, and I want to bring it down some, get back into the reason of why I'm doing this. And again, it is life and the way we are living and the way we are perceiving our lives. And it's about taking control back into your being. It's about reconnecting with life in a way that you envision it, not in a way that it has been handed down. That is the difference. That is that's the kicker. That's the corker. That's the shiznit. Okay? It is about life, and it is about finding who you are, being that rebel. It is about being the magnificence of who you are, the divinity, to let it bubble up and just be your presence, be your energy, be your blood, be pump from you, surround you, flow through you. And so others can feel it. And they say, something different about you. What's going on with you? And you just smile because you realize you're being your authentic self. And that's what's so different. That's what's so different from who you've always allowed yourself to be. And I was talking with my best friend Koya today, and we are always in tune and always going through some of the same stuff. And she told me something that blew my hat back, okay? She said a friend told her that it's okay to be her kick-ass self, okay? And that just, a light bulb said ding! And I'm like, wow, that is so deep. You know, be your kick-ass self. I am one who firmly will let anyone know in a heartbeat I am multifaceted. You will never know all of me. Never. Because there's way too much here. I am of the all, you know? And it flows through me. So you'll never get to know me. I will never know all of me. And that's okay. And I am good and light, and I am good and dark, and I am all of those things. And that is the way I am designed to be. And when I shut down any aspect of myself, I'm denying myself the birthright of my richness, of my fullness, of my blessings. Because see, when you step in certain energy that comes from you, you manifest certain presences, certain energies, certain dynamics, certain life styles, certain life energies, certain life essences. There we go. That you need. You know, that you really, really need. That's like an infusion to you. And when you don't allow yourself to be in that mold, whatever that mold looks like for you, for some it's very professional, you know, hair tied back, glasses on, and Miss Etiquette, you know. And for others, it's nose rings and, you know, hats with ears and googly eyes and red hair and black lipstick and makeup and, you know, wearing jewelry all kooky and whatever. Whatever is you, do you. Do you. And don't care what somebody else thinks about how you do you. It's none of their business. It's how you feel. How it makes you feel. How it empowers you. How it strengthens you. What it teaches you about you. You're nobody's expectation of what you should be. Not even God. He gave you freedom to be who you want to be, how you want to be. For you to manifest that expression and to get to it in your own way. In however many lifetimes you need to get to it. In however many forms, male, female, white, black, whatever. The thing is to get to it. Is to get to it. To get to life and living And if we didn't get to life and living, we would never know what death and dying is all about. And if we're too busy living in fear of death and dying, then we don't have time to live. We're too busy trying to avoid death or do this before we die or blah, 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 blah. Live. Have life conversations with yourself. Have life conversations with those that love you. Have life conversations with those who can help see into you, who you feel safe and comfortable with sharing yourself. And they have to be someone who's not going to denigrate you, who's not going to take from your essence, but who is going to uplift you. It's not about they're not going to criticize you. It's not that they're going to tell you everything that you want to hear. It's that they're going to be truthful with you. And that their truth makes it safe for you to be in that space with them, to share your intimate self with them. And it takes baby steps to get there. It's taken me almost 18 years. I'm not going to even say that it's taken me, I'll be 49 this May 1st. It's taken me 49 years to get here, to understand what life is, and that it's mine. This is my life. It's not your life. It's not my mother's life. It's not God's life. That divine breath was given to me. And I am its will to express itself, to know itself, to touch itself, to tap into itself, and to tap into everything that is. Okay, that's that portion of this. And I want to move forward. I pulled some cards. I pulled two. One was just popped out at me. The other one, I went through the deck and shuffled and blew and pulled. I'm not reading from the deck that I usually use, the Fiona Morgan's Daughters of the Moon Tarot deck. I'm not sharing from there today. I'm sharing from the 2013 Oracle. And this is a card I usually use to read on my radio show. But I'm going to share the first card with you. And again, this is the 2013 Oracle, The Ancient Keys to the 2012 Awakening by David Carson and Nina Sammons. And let me just show you the card that just jumped from the deck. This is it. And the cards are very small, as you can see. They fit right there. Just like that. There we go. Okay. This is a card that jumped out at me when I said, okay, let's use this deck. Boom! There it was. I'm like, okay. Okay. So this card is number 5. It's called Hand Wheel Offering. And this is what it says. Many teachings are held in the great hand, the hand of the God of gods. Duality is complementary and not opposed when in the hands of the great being. The great hand is not absolute but interdependent, holding all so-called opposites. The first hand grasps the conch shell, the instrument yielding the first divine sound, the wind jewel. The second hand holds the sacred grass sphere, life lived in balance with ordinary reality. The third hand is the truth hand, sheltering the tobacco leaf. The fourth hand holds the obsidian knife of human-held power to give or take life. 5 is the number of the hand. Consider the wonders that have been built by human hands. The great works of beauty and architecture, the pyramids and temples of the ancient world, the great monuments in front of us today. Hand wheel speaks of human balance and striving for, I'm trying to get comfortable here, and striving for fulfillment. Hand, particularly the thumb, is related to Venus. Okay? A single hand symbolizes male right-handed and female left-handed, groups of 5. I'm going to say that again because in esoteric circles, that is very important. In the cycles of things, that is very important. In the mathematical geometry, Fibonacci numbers, geometric spheres and shapes, the different paths that exist in humanity right now and in the future and in the past. This speaks to that. And I know that's kind of deep and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Excuse my French. But do your research. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm going to say it again and do your research. Okay, here we go. Hand, particularly the thumb, is related to Venus. A single hand symbolizes male right-handed and female left-handed groups of 5. Stated simply, the left hand is related to the sacred, and the right hand is related to everyday jobs, the mundane. The left hand is the spiritual hand. So the feminine is the spiritual. Okay, I'm holding up the wrong hand, but you know what I mean. The right hand is the dirt under the fingernails, profane hand. The members of many secret groups and societies correspond to the various digits of the hand. Fingers, including the thumb, are called planets. Each has specific powers. The Venus digit, the thumb, symbolizes the teacher, knowledge carrier, or holder. Thumb is ruler of the groups and the central person of authority. Thumb's character from the ether, void or empty space. Thumb is the power of feathered serpent, the material manifestation of the universe. All must come to this digit in order for magical combinations to occur. Please take this into your being. Open yourself, ask for revelations, ask for awareness, ask for one piece that you can start with to move forward in your journey. This is not just for those that already know this and that adhere to this. This is for those who, what's a left-handed path? What's a right-handed path? What do you mean the planets? What do you mean the thumb is Venus? How many animals don't have thumbs? This is ancient wisdom. This is ancient life being taught. This is how you unlock life. Okay? Thumb is power of feathered serpent, the material manifestation of the universe that has very significant energy to it because it's just pulsating for me when I see it and when I read it and the words. All must come to this digit in order for magical combinations to occur. And Spirit says that is the master. In each time period, there are masters that come forward. They are the thumbs that lead the hand. Okay. Hand wheel card tells you to live life with a positive attitude. Put your hand to life's challenges. A pipestone hand seeks union. A flint hand seeks truth like an arrow. A crystal hand bestows light. An obsidian hand is introspective and acts from deep inner knowing. The left hand has a heart, and correct use of the hand brings good fortune. They are the harmony of hands, the trust of hands, the balance of hands, unselfish, detached hands, hands with flexible fingers and limber thumbs. Remember, fingers and thumbs oppose each other, and this is what makes the hand function. Deep wisdom, deep wisdom. Meditate on it. Rewind it if you need to. Deep wisdom. Okay. The secret of the hand is the secret of fulfillment. Hands represent our gifts and our service. Hands give and hands take. Hands teach us how to avoid mistakes. Gentle hands are the loving hands, hands that are willing to let things be and not stamp their will on the situation. By these hands we are touched with blessings and nourishment. To reach out and link your fingers with another is an act of love and acknowledgement of sisterhood or brotherhood. Gentle hands know that life is transitory and we are here conditionally. When your hands are open and giving, it denotes a steadfastness of heart and a permanence of commitment. The hand and the heart working together lead you to happiness. Hand wheel card asks you to look at your own hand. Where is it pointing? What is it grasping? What are you willing to release? Are your hands working toward a goal? Or even, what is your hand? What is it your hands are doing during the course of a day? Clap your hands together and give encouragement and applause where it is deserved. Encouragement is a tonic to those who are stumbling on their path. That is so powerful. That speaks. It speaks to me as an empath. It speaks to me as a cosmic being. What is needed is the encouragement. What is needed is the encouragement to be. Not to be something someone else sees, but to be that authentic part of you that existed before materializing in this form. See, this flesh, this body, it's here. It houses your soul. You are the soul it houses. But it also is a spirit. You know, your spirit is in here. Your spirit looks down upon you. It looks down upon your life. It looks down upon the child parts. It looks down upon the soul parts. And it says, rise. Ascend. Pull yourself up. Get up. Stop suffering. You don't have to. You choose to. Life is not about suffering. It's about living. You decide how you choose, how you are going to live. And sometimes we have to allow that for ourselves and others. Just like letting go of my daughter, you know. Whether I agree with the move, whether I disagree with the move, whether I see so many California falling into the ocean, whatever. It is her time to live life on her terms. And I've laid the groundwork. I've done what I was supposed to do, whether I did it the right way or the wrong way. Life is life. And it's now up to her. And she has to impart what she knows to her children. This is the evolution of life. It is the being born, the observing. It is the crawling. And then it is the getting up and walking and running to whatever destination you choose. So let me get back to reading and stop putting my stuff in here. But it just, I'm not going to say I'm going to stop because that's just how spirit works. So I'm going to quit babbling and here we go. Hand wheel card tells you to reach for the things you need with no hesitation. Bless yourself. Always be generous, hospitable, and comforting. Hand wheel asks you to observe and see what is needed, and then to meet those needs. How long has it been since you have embraced a child or loved one? Have you been withholding affection? Do you need to hold the hand of a person going through hard times or someone who has faced a loss? Hand wheel card asks you to share your gifts. You are being asked to give a hand where it is needed. You are being asked to touch the lives of others in a hands-on way. Put your hand to work immediately for reasons you should already know. Now, this card came for us because although it jumped out of the deck for me, it jumped out for us because of the energy of me doing this and needing to do this. Nothing is coincidence. Nothing is synchronistic. Everything is synchronistic. And when you start seeing the synchronicity, when you start connecting the dots, when you start being in touch with your thoughts and your hand to heart thoughts, head, hand, heart. That's the way of integrity. That is the way of intention. That is the way of life. Head, what you think. Heart, what you know. Hand, what you feel and what you share and what you give and what you take and receive. And at times you're going to have the oppositions. The thumb and the fingers, they oppose each other. But they work together. And that's what we need to do. We need to find the thumb within ourselves. You know, you remember how when we were little, you'd had all the little things with the thumbs when you were in kindergarten and Head Start and, you know, this little one, all those little songs and things that you did. The patty cake with the hands, the Eatsy Weensy Spider, and all of those things. They show you how things connect and work together. You know, I used to do all these little things with my grands, and the one that I still catches me and amazes me the most about is the little teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. Tip me over and pour me out. You know, that tells you the pot doesn't hate itself because it's a teapot. It says, this is my handle. It doesn't say my handle's too fat. My handle's too skinny. I don't like my handle. My handle's the wrong color. This is my sprout. It has a function. It allows me to pour. Is my sprout too big? Is my sprout too little? You know, those are human things that we throw at everything. Those are human labels and definitions that we have to put on everything in order to join it, to judge it. And we shouldn't judge it. It's a teapot. It functions as a teapot. No matter what color it is, no matter how big or small it is, no matter what it's made out of. It's a teapot. It's going to pour hot water. Okay, it's going to pour tea into the cup. That's its life function. Okay, more of spirit, less of salary. um, I'm gonna move forward a little bit more. With this portion that I'm getting, and the spirit wanted me to address deeply, 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 deeply. And I'm gonna get one of my crystals as I speak about this because I just feel the need. There we go. I don't know if you can see it. Got hair all over it. There we go. I want to speak about water. When I first started doing my shows, when I first came out, I'll use that word, with Mutha Wit, when Spirit first gave me this platform to use, when it first identified the vessel inside of me that it was going to use, and it named Mutha Wit Wisdom. Water was the foreground of everything. And I spent so much time researching water, researching the different goddesses that had things to do with water. Everything was with water. I'd go to these different psychics and ask them, "What do you know about water?" You know, and I got wonderful, wonderful information. And lately, what has been coming to me about water is this: we are made up of water. Everything that is going wrong with our planet now is water based. And I know you're going to say, what does one thing have to do with the other? That's for you to connect the dots with. I already see it, whether you see it or not. Mama sees it. She's told me. It is what it is. Period. Now, moving on from that, I want to say this. As a child growing up, one of the commercials that used to touch me the most was of a native man going in canoe on a river, through the forest and through the earth, and him looking and him seeing what human beings were doing, what the industrialized world was doing to the earth mother, the things that she was dumping, the pollution, the contamination, the eroding of her spirit energy, of her healthy spirit energy, her healthy energy to nourish us. And his eyes would speak to me because they were so sad. And I never understood. It never penetrated my awareness as it does now, as I think back on that. And I understand the message even more. It was never about civilizing. It was never about evolving. It was never about gaining. It was about loss. It was about death. It was about murder. It was about what we were doing to the planet. It was about what he foresaw 7 generations forward and happening to this planet, specifically to the water. What is the earth mostly made of? What does water symbolize? Spirituality, emotions, so forth and so on. Right now, our waters are so contaminated. Our bodies are so toxic. We are all dying, literally, figuratively. And we need to turn it back. The awareness needs to happen. The connection needs to be reached. That we need to go back. That the Earth Mother is a live being, and the water, her blood, needs to be pure, needs to be fresh, and it needs to be free of death. And it has gotten so bad. Let me tell you how bad it's gotten. This is what Mama showed me of how bad it's gotten. We buy water now. We buy water to drink. We still pay taxes for clean water. We still do everything we can for clean water. The system that is in place, and I'm not naming a government, I'm not naming the establishment, I'm not naming any of that. I'm letting you know that things are here to teach you a lesson. Things are in place to let you know the polarities and how to find the middle ground. And you have the left hand and you have the right hand, and they are opposing each other, and they all have their various agendas and desires and designs. But it is up to you as an individual, as a sovereign life force, to come forward and say, not on my watch. What else are we going to be paying for next? Air, the right to breathe. Who's going to regulate it? See, those who are privileged, who are in roles of responsibility, or who influence those who are in roles of responsibility, everything is about $1 to them. Everything is about capitalistic values. That is the integrity that flows through them. And they don't care about the earth. They don't care about the animals. They don't care about the children. Not yours and mine anyway. See, theirs go to different schools and universities of thoughts and frequencies and energies that the average one of us, we don't come in contact with. And when we do come in contact with it, it has been cloaked so well that we don't recognize it for the face that it is, because it's so masked. There are so many secret fraternities and societies with their own agendas and their own realities, and they're there to separate and divide. No matter how good they seem to be. They are one or the other hand, and they are impacted. Okay? Getting back to the water, I want you to think about who has invested in these water companies. Look behind the names of the stockholders and so forth and so on. And I guarantee you that you will find connections with those who oversee the water department, who oversee the chemicals that go into the water, that oversee the well-being of the water on this planet, you know. And it's, I want you to understand, when I say this planet, I mean the United States sends water to China. It's a business. Okay? We go to other countries to help them clean their water systems, find their water systems, develop their water systems, but yet we're drinking water out of bottles. Bottles that pollute the earth with more plastic. Water that has been contained in a plastic bottle can't even be drank after a while. So we're harming the earth, we're harming ourselves, all so some can make good on their capitalistic investments. But their water, I guarantee you, is flows through their osmotic systems and everything, and is clean. It's well filtered. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to stop trusting. This is no longer the time to be sheep waiting on that shepherd to come and watch the flock. You know, the steeple and all. No. No. We are sovereign beings, and we each have to stand up. And when enough of us stand up, enough of us awake, and enough of us come together, and those visionaries, see, the visionaries are the ones that the establishment want sleep. They are the ones that they want knocked out first, because they see what everyone else does not see. Look back in history when you see the doctors and the lawyers and the professors and the scientists. Those are the ones who are killed first because they have the vision. They have the knowledge. You ask, why the chemtrails? Why this and why that, and why universities are failing, and why this and why that? Connect the dots, people. Connect the dots. As Michael Jackson said, they don't really care about us. They don't care about us. They don't care about you. They don't care about your children. They don't care about anything except the numerical amount that your social security number nets, what you do to help the system. That system needs to be overhauled. I'm trying not to go too long because I don't know how long this video can go. I think it goes up to 2 hours. So I don't want to just sit up here and talk that long, because I know people have short attention spans, and no matter how good something is, no matter how truthful something is, your attention is not going to allow you to sit and focus. And do you know why? because of the water you drink, because of the TV you watch, because of the air you breathe. You no longer have the patience. You want things instantaneous. If you could get this information in just a zap, you would take it instead of just sitting here and listening, because it requires you to think. And we are being programmed to not want to think. How many of you have picked up books lately? How many of you have sat in quiet lately with television, music off, just alone with your thoughts, thinking about this world, thinking about yourself? This is where we are as a species on this planet right now. And the card that came forth, I'm getting ready to read it. I really wanted to bring forth that water issue, and I did, and I'll be doing more on that. But like I said, this is a time thing, and so many of you don't want to listen to this kind of information in the beginning, but that's neither here nor there, because Mama has given it to me to speak, and I'm going to speak it. So here it goes. Again, this card was pulled the way it should have been pulled. It didn't jump forward. It was pulled through the deck, being shuffled and cleaned and everything else. And this card is very important to me. This card is always very powerful to me. I have a deep connection with this card. It is a spirit animal, and it is a spirit totem of mine. And I ride upon the wisdom of it. So, in saying that, it is the number 10. Huh. 2 hands, huh? First one was 5, this one is 10. And you're still wondering about dots and synchronicity and blah, 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 blah. You would be amazed. That's all I want to say is you would really be amazed. Okay, this is a woolly mammoth card, and it represents ancestors. Our ancestors are sacred. The number 10 symbolizes our ancestors who have crossed over to the next world. They have completed the journey of 1 through 9. 10 represents their transition to the next world. This is so very important, because this is where so much information is coming from that I receive. It is through these ones that I receive, and it is ancient. The spirit of it is very ancient, very humble, very wise, very patient, very all-seeing, very all-knowing, and I'm trying my best to become one with that way, with that patience, with that heart and soul and essence that is the woolly mammoth. So let me go. That is also 10. Woolly mammoth asks you to awaken your genetic memory, the code of life you have chosen to manifest. Life gave you life, and before your mother and father, there were other mothers and other fathers, stretching back into the dim past. Woolly mammoth asks you to be conscious of the next 7 generations, for we will one day have the distinction of being ancestors. It is certainly our hope that future generations will honor us and remember us. That is my hope. I don't know if it's yours, but it's mine. I want my great-grands, my great-great-grands, just like I remember my mama, Juanita, and I remember my grandmother, Osime, and I remember her mother, Lemon. I want them to remember. I want my life to be real to them. And so I have to live it in order to show them what life is. I have to face my fears And I have to teach them how to face theirs. And I have to show them how to stand up for themselves, to themselves. Others are not important. Woolly Mammoth asks you to be conscious of the next 7 generations, for we will one day have the distinction of being ancestors. It is certainly our hope that future generations will honor us and remember us. Native America and Native Mesoamerica know full well that human history can be destroyed by disease and genocide and gaping holes left in the fabric of people's lives. The transmission of information from the older generation to the next can end suddenly. The doors between human errors are slammed shut with a horrifying finality. However, children are born, and with the first breath they take, they sense the presence of their ancestors. And of course, I'm going to interject again and just say that this is so powerful. This is so very powerful. I've been talking, and I've been seeing others. I saw grandmother Marion Dawn Weaver mention the Spider Woman today, grandmother Spider Woman, and I was talking about that with Koya a couple of days ago. The web of our life is being reconstructed by us. It is the evolution of a new pattern, new patterns and ways of thinking, and holding on to thought and transferring that energy along. We have lost respect for the elders. Those that were born in my generation, most of us, we know and we remember the connections, whether they were familial or just from your neighbors, older ones. You were taught to respect them for no other reason than they had been here, for no other reason than their age. It wasn't whether they were a good person or a bad person, or they smoked, or they drank, or they cussed, or they made pies, or they taught you things. It was for the gray hair, the wisdom that they had walked and had seen more than you. This is the wisdom of the woolly mammoth. This is what she teaches, what they bring. The elderly in the herd are taken care of. They are adhered to because they are recognized for the wisdom that they hold. That pattern has been broken. It has been broken. Look at how the children treat their parents, let alone their grandparents, let alone anyone else's grandparents, because they were never taught to respect first themselves, then their selves in a relationship to their parents, then their relationship to those outside of themselves. Respect has to be taught, or it can't be earned, or it can't be given if you don't recognize what it is. You have to be taught the value of respect. And it is not somebody stepping on your shoes and you saying, "You disrespected me. I got to kill you now." Really? That is cowardice. That is cowardice. That is not strength. But that is what is perpetrated And that is what has penetrated the consciousness, because that's how it was designed to do. Check yourselves when it comes to those with the gray hairs, because one day, if you are fortunate enough, you will be one of them, and you will be in their shoes and in their position. And what you do comes back to you times 10. So, just stating. Let me move on. I'm already at an hour. Okay. Woolly Mammoth teaches that the ancestors are always near. Our ancestors are our legacy. It is dangerous to ignore your heritage, your birthright. It doesn't matter what that birthright may be. If your ancestors were good or evil, ignorant or realized people, they survived and are a link to you. Your ancestors call for acknowledgement and ceremony. Heed the call. Heed that call. And again, this is Woolly Mammoth. By singing sacred chants, we can reach real people in forgotten time. I want you to hear that. Because so many people ask and want to know, what is all this chanting and singing and humming, and what does all that got to do with anything? And I want you to know, this is what the ancients did to usher in spirit, to usher in the divine energy that we, have been taught as Holy Spirit, this force that comes, that was just left, but that has always been and has always been accessible. And for those who are in tune with it, they see it in the bend of a branch. They see it in the flow of the water. They see it in a leaf falling from a tree. This is the connection to the unseen. To put yourself in a state where you can commune with that force, with that energy, with that life essence, because it too is life. When you learn how to communicate with it, everything gets better. When you learn to listen to it, to value it, to know that it is a part of you, that you came from this. You become strong in ways that no one can take from you, that no one can diminish you. Not even yourself, not even those old thought forms and patterns and words that used to tear you down. When you connect with that Holy Spirit that has always been, when you learn how to usher that into your presence and into your being and into your speech, and to give thanks and be grateful for it, baby, your world changes. The universe takes note of you, and you begin to manifest in a way that benefits the all in all, because you're connected and you're aware of, in your own individuality, of your connection to that hive. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to shut up. It's so hard. My children too. So hard, so hard. Okay. By singing sacred chants, we can reach real people in forgotten time. Even dimensions, worlds, planets. There is a continuum of time beyond life and death. You carry it. Find the lost strands of your ancestors' legacy in order to weave a new tapestry. Honor your ancestors because they are your roots. They give us different levels of knowledge passed down through the ages. Time can transform the shape, but not the deep significance of a teaching, our lineage. Woolly Mammoth is reminding you that your relatives are calling you. They ask that you acknowledge and join them to stand in the circle of many generations. What was then is now. Here, your ancestors will embrace you. Eventually, you will have to say your farewells, knowing that one day you will join them. Even though your ancestors dwell in another dimension, they are with you because they left you their lineage. So when you walk around and you say, I hate white people, I don't like so and so, the Scottish people get on my nerves, guess what? You could be hating a part of your lineage and not even know it. So you're hating a part of yourself. So that part doesn't speak to you. You don't receive that because you got issues. Love yourself. Know yourself. Allow yourself to speak to you. From generations ago, before you existed, before you were that gleam in your mama's or daddy's eye. That's what I was told when I was little. Acknowledge those who have been here before and those who will be here after. Connect with the now by understanding this side and that side, the polarities and the middle. Okay. We all want to be remembered. Follow the custom of visiting the burial sites of your dead relatives. Spend reverential time there. Leave a little pinch of tobacco or other small gifts. Leave your prayer ties in a tree near their grave. Sacrifice to the ancestors by burning sage, copal, or some other incense. If this is not possible, build an ancestral altar in your home and do rituals to their memory. Traditionally, these altars are built in the West. Call out to the ancient ones. This is the feng shui, by the way, the West. In your house, in your space, your personal space. Find that West and give them the recognition. Honor them. Doesn't mean you worship them. They don't become your gods. They show you, an aspect of you, that gleam. Honor them. Remember them often, good or bad. Be thankful for them. Call out to the ancient ones. Let them energize and protect you. The trumpeting woolly mammoth brings you strength from the ancestors. She can grant any wish. So if your question is about a hope, expect a positive outcome. The sacred tree of life holds the blooms of the precious ones. And y'all know how much I have been on that sacred tree of life lately. The sacred tree of life holds the blooms of the precious ones. You can find nourishing fullness in the shadow of this ancient tree, of this ancestral tree. Excuse me, that just brings me so much joy. That just brings me so much joy. In a long time past, the people uncovered bones of incredible length and diameter buried in the earth. The people knew these remains belonged to a creature of massive proportions that had walked the land in the days of the ancestors. This place of discovery was called Where They Are Broad-Shouldered. Withdrawn from the earth, the bones were honored in a sacred space and revered as being the testimony of giants who came before us. Woolly Mammoth card evokes ancestral protection for the less able who are weakened in mind, body, or spirit and need to be held in a supportive realm so they can develop. So, for those who are labeled in this world handicapped or special needs or whatever the politically correct term is, Woolly Mammoth holds you. Find out about this animal. Find out about the totem. Find out about the elephant. Find out about the energy. Find out about what the herd is, how they protected each other, how they had relationships with each other. Find your strength in that, knowing that no matter what your handicap is, you came from a line, and that line lives on through you. And you are here for a reason and a purpose. No matter how limited this world sees you, in other dimensions, you are kings. You are gods and goddesses. Bring that energy here. From a wheelchair, from one leg, from being big as a house, from whatever it is. Stop feeling sorry for yourselves. You are beautiful, and you are meant to be here at this time. Find like-minded ones who support you and nourish you. There's much work to be done. Woolly Mammoth can discern the spiritual family you belong to and the practices that will be most conducive to your spiritual growth. Understand why diversity is necessary. Understand that one way is not for everybody. So if you have family members who are Muslim, who follow the native path, who follow the goth path, who want to listen to and be steampunk, or whatever the latest thing or the oldest thing is, understand that head, heart, hand, that connection is different for everyone. But if you allow your ancestors to help you, if you step into that energy of knowing yourself and connecting with what has been, what is now in this moment, and what is to come, then you can make the decisions that leave a flow, that leave a frequency that is easy to tap into, one that nourishes instead of deplenishes. Okay. I'm going to read that one again. Woolly Mammoth can discern the spiritual family you belong to and practices that will be most conducive to your spiritual growth. The prehistoric creature reveals ways for you and your descendants to be strong and healthy as you move into the future. You may feel unfamiliar with the spirit world, but all around us are gifts from the past, buildings, inventions, philosophies, and the nomenclature of life as we know it in modern times. Let these manifestations speak to your consciousness. Experience and reason form only a small part of our perceptions of reality. Experience and reason form only a small part of our perceptions of reality. Left hand, right hand. small part. The card suggests you learn to communicate with your ancestors. Open yourself to the daily signs and occurrences that hold deeper meaning to you, for you. Sorry. Press on with your life, but remember your origins. Walk the spiritual road to the bridge of the old souls, your ancestors. Go in spirit to where they live amidst the pebbly stars. And I'm going to say something for a minute because lately in my meditations I have been being taken to the stars. And I'm not one to learn to know constellations or any of this. But what I sense when I go there, when I'm there, and I close my eyes so that I can see. I feel the energy of the ancestors. I feel the wisdom of all that has been, of all that has transpired, and even in the worlds that no longer exist, that are dust out there. I'm part of that dust. And I'm part of this life. And life is rich. And for others to steal even a moment of your joy of life opens up all kinds of hells for them. Understand that we at some point have to become responsible, aware and awake enough in order to thrive, in order to adapt, in order to move on and forward, in order to bring about a condition on this earth that is conducive to the Earth Mother herself and to us as inhabitants here. And that there may come a day when the earth itself does not exist and we will be space dust, and people will look and aspects of ourselves will feel and be in tune with what's there. And our presence will still be there, and we can impart what we learned, what we saw, what we know, what we feel to them. Understand that there are dimensions and planes and realms that interact all the time. Just because we don't have the trained eye or senses to be aware of them does not mean that they don't exist. Love is beyond reason. It exists. Try to tell somebody what love is. See how many answers you get. Okay. I'm just going to go back and start because I can't tell you where I was. Okay. Sorry, and this is getting longer and longer. Let me get on. Woolly Mammoth card evokes ancestral protection for the less able who are weakened in mind, body, or spirit and need to be held in a supportive realm so they can develop. Woolly Mammoth can discern the spiritual family you belong to and practice that will be most conducive to your spiritual growth. The prehistoric creature reveals ways for you and your descendants to be strong and healthy as you move into the future. You may feel unfamiliar with the spirit world, but all around us are gifts from the past. Buildings, inventions, philosophies, and the nomenclature of life as we know it in modern times. Let these manifestations speak to your consciousness. Experience and reason form only a small part of our perceptions of reality. The card suggests you can learn to communicate with your ancestors. Open yourself to the daily signs and occurrences that hold deeper meaning for you. Press on with your life, but remember your origins. Walk the spiritual road to the bridge of the old souls, your ancestors. Go in spirit to where they live amongst the pebbly stars. By using intuition, divination, prayer, and other methods, we can catch that sacred blast from the past. This is Woolly Mama's teaching. And again, this was from the 2013 Oracle Ancient Keys to the 2012 Awakening, David Carson. Okay. And this is a wonderful tool to know yourself, to start monitoring your progress and your growth. Find different things that speak to you, that lead you, that help you to get to a broader understanding of your life and what life is. Okay, I spoke about the water, and there was one more thing that I was supposed to bring, and I can't for the life of me bring it up right now. So I'm just going to go in the order of the last thing that Spirit gave to me. And maybe this will bring it back clear to me in my talking self. Or maybe it needs to be just another show. So I'm going with the flow. I'm no longer I was sweating the technique. That was a term that my first boyfriend, my first love, used to tell me. And in a way, what it is saying is that you think too much. You overanalyze things. Stop sweating the technique. The technique is not going to change. And me, I'm like, well, where's the technique come from? And can it be done another way? And blah, 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 blah. Stop sweating the technique, Valerie. Stop sweating the technique. This is the technique. It has worked all these times. Just please, just do it this way, please, please, please. Okay, I'll stop sweating the technique. All right. With everything that's going on right now in the world, the Russian Ukraine situation, I want you to know that that's prophetic, first of all. And again, that was found in from what the ancestors show. It is Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. The bears, the Russian bear. And that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm being told to leave that alone. So I'll leave that alone. Go to what I was told to say. Okay. Dragonfly and Damselfly. Keynote: the power of light. Dragonflies and damselflies are very ancient, with estimates of having been around for over 180 million years. They have a beautiful jewel-like coloring. The bright colors take time to develop, reflecting the idea that with maturity, our own true colors come forth. This is part of dragonfly medicine. This is coming from Animal Speaks, The Spiritual and Magical Power of Creatures Great and Small by Ted Andrews. This is one of the books I got very first when I began on my journey of learning and awakening and understanding being presented and coming to me outside of me. When I first saw this book coming from a Jehovah's Witness background, I was like, oh my God, what the heck is this? That is surely demonism, and I was scared of what he was holding and the bird on his head, and then the blackbirds over here, and blah 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 blah. And then, Spirit just told me, open the book, read it, let it speak to you. And I did. And you couldn't pry this book out of my hand now if you wanted to, because it is my go-to for all things. When I pray and I ask for signs, this is this book right here that taught me. You are getting your answers. You don't even know what you're seeing. You don't even know how to interpret them. Yes, there are angels that are unseen, and there are angels that are seen. This speaks of the angels that are seen, that we call animals and plants and so forth, and so forth, that we are so connected with and don't even have a clue. Okay, I'm just going to move on. I just introduced the book, and this has, okay, it's not that long. It's long enough, but it's not that long. Hopefully I'll be done in a little bit. You're going to have to pause this and come back and so forth and so on, and that's okay. And do what you need to do, but get the information. That's the important thing, is to receive what is being given. And don't just think it's being given from me, it's coming from me, because it's coming from a very deeper place than what I could ever offer you on my own. Okay, here we are. For many, it is difficult to tell the difference between a dragonfly and a damselfly. Dragonflies have broad bodies and enormous eyes. Damselflies are more slender and delicate. When dragonflies are at rest, they hold their wings out like a glider. Damselflies will fold their wings over their backs when at rest. Dragonflies will often eat while in flight, and damselflies will always land before eating. That's where a lot of this women are so fragile and blah, 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 blah comes from. Shut up, Valerie. Okay. Both are known for their fast flight and their dazzling aerial feats, as if imitating how light itself can be moved and directed. Deep. That's vibrating in the book, guys. I'm going to say it again. Both are known for their fast flight and their dazzling aerial feats, as if imitating how light itself can be moved and directed. They twist, turn, change directions in an instant, hover, move up or down, and even fly backwards. Dragonflies are sometimes known as mosquito hawks. Both the damsels and the dragons are excellent hunters of flying insects. They can fly at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, and their eyes help spot flying insects. They can spot a movement 40 feet away. They use their sharp, spiny legs and strong jaws to capture their prey. And how delicate we think they are. Dragonflies and damselflies inhabit two realms, water and air. Deep, deep, deep. The significance of these should be examined. In their early life as a nymph, they live within the water. As they mature and go through their metamorphosis, they move to the realm. There we go. They move to the realm of air. It is not unusual to find individuals with dragonfly totems to be very emotional and passionate in the early years. But as they get older, they learn to balance it with greater mental clarity and control. Sometimes it can indicate that the emotions have gotten shut down because of emotional issues in the early life. Remember that the dragonfly and damselfly are always found around water. Here we go with water again. There must be expressions of the emotional and the mental together. If a dragonfly has shown up in your life, you may need some fresh air in regard to something emotional. You may need to gain a new perspective or make a change. It may even indicate that you are neglecting your emotions or you're being too rational about everything. Are you not keeping the color of emotions alive? Dragonflies are very territorial. They will lay their eggs within their territory near the water. The egg eventually develops into the nymph stage of metamorphosis in this insect and remains as a nymph for almost 2 years before it transforms into an adult dragonfly or damselfly. This can reflect a number of possibilities for those with this totem. It can indicate that an approximate 2-year period of change is about to reach its culmination. Ding, ding, ding. It may even reflect a need to institute changes that may culminate in the colorful transformation you desire within a 2-year period. Ding, ding, ding. Only by examining your life and activities will you begin to understand its specific role. Know thyself. Pay attention to your life and what goes on, even if it's to the damselfly and the 2-year period and what she brings forward. Her and the dragonfly. Just as light can bend and shift and be adapted in a variety of ways, so can the archetypal forces associated with the dragonfly. It is one of the most adaptable of insects. It is why it has been able to survive for so long. Dragonflies have 2 pairs of wings, but if need be, they can fly with one. Their eyes are kept clean with special combs on their legs and by washing the eyes with water drops collected in the mouth. Their main predators are frogs and birds. Particularly the frog should be studied by those with this totem. Examining its information found in the last chapter will help you with this. Get the book and do it yourself. Their realm is the realm of light, and they are only out during the day, as they are cold-blooded. Summer is their most powerful time, as they need the warmth and the light of the sun. For those with this totem, this will be important to consider. Spending time outside in the sun near freshwater sources will be beneficial for restoring and changing health conditions for the better for those with this totem. Although some have color pigments in their skin, for most the colors are caused almost the same way rainbows form. Structures in their shell scatter and refract the light, making them look iridescent, green, and blue. As they age, they may pass through several color changes. This ability to reflect and reflect light and color has caused it to be associated with many forms of magic and mysticism, including color magic, illusion, causing others only to see what you wish, and more. Dragonfly's magic is the power of light and all that has ever been associated with it. This is the season of the dragonfly, the love of light. Okay. Dragonflies and damselflies are often depicted in Japanese paintings, representing new light and joy. To some Native Americans, they represent the souls of the dead. Some stories speak of the time in which they used to be real dragons. Often, we assume that dragons have to be gigantic beasts breathing fire. But fantastic creatures of the fairy realm often come in many shapes and sizes. Dragonflies, because they are mythical relatives of the ancient dragons, are wonderful links to working with nature spirits. For more information on them, you may wish to refer to my earlier work, Enchantment of the Fairy Realm, and that's by Ted Andrews. The dragonfly and damselfly reflect and work from the sun and light. The light changes throughout the day. The dragonfly and damselfly undergo their own transformations. If they have shown up, look for change to occur. And they have shown up. They have been showing up a lot lately, especially the dragonfly for me, in pictures, in writings, in poems, in dream time, in visions, just everywhere. Look for change to occur. Are you resisting change when you shouldn't? Dragonflies remind us that we are light and can reflect the light in powerful ways if we choose to do so. Let there be light is the divine prompting to use the creative imagination as a force within your life. That is so powerful to me. That speaks to me. And I hope it speaks to you, because it is so powerful. And I want you to, when you use that phrase, I want you to attach yourself to that phrase. Let there be light. Say it with intention and with meaning, and use your breath and being aware of what you're saying. And say, let there be light. Let there be an abundance of light. This is the divine prompting to use the creative imagination as a force within your life. So if you want to bring light and love, that kind of energy into your life, speak it. Speak it into being. Bless yourself. Bless your space. Bless your children. Bless the newborns that are coming. Let there be light. It has very significant meaning. You give yourself power by being bathed in the love that comes from these words. Let there be light. Let there be light. Please. That's 5. Okay. Life is never quite the way it appears, but is always filled with light and color. Dragonfly can help you to see through your illusions and thus allow your own light to shine forth. Dragonfly brings the brightness of transformation and the wonder of a colorful new vision. So that is so beautiful and so precious. And again, that was from Animal Speaks by Ted Andrews. And I'm at 1:42, an hour and 42 minutes and 37 seconds. So let me just say again, I am thankful to be the vessel to bring this forth. I am thankful for being the vessel to contain this knowledge, to hold it for myself, and to speak it for now, for the ancestors, and for those to come. And I acknowledge all three and the divinity in the three. Again, I just want to say thank you again so much. And I am so looking forward to growing and the growth and the colors and the connections with the ancestors. And it is deepening in ways that I could not have ever imagined before. But with this awakening, I am seeing it in everything, in numbers, in time, in colors, in my own eyes when I look into them. I'm seeing them in the cheekbones. I'm seeing them in the shape of my lips. I'm seeing my grandmother's grandmother's grandmother. And I don't see her as a color or a race. I see her as an energy being, as a representation of life and of choice. And I hope you can see that as well. I hope I've shared it enough in a clear manner for you to experience it the way I've experienced it today and this morning, and the way I'm experiencing it right now. And again, I want to thank Ade and Celeste and Koya because I was going to just do this as a radio show, and it wouldn't have come out the way it has today. But this was the way I guess it needed to come out, and I'm grateful to be chosen to do this. And for once in my life, I can truly say I love life. I love life. And that means all life. Even mosquitoes, roaches, flies, bugs, creepy crawlies. We all have our purposes. And we all have our forms. And we all have our ancestries. And to connect with that energy is a beautiful thing. I was talking on my Facebook page. My grandchildren are traveling cross country as we speak, and they took pictures at one of the stores, and I had been telling them to find stones that speak to you because I've told them of the native tradition where the stone people are the oldest beings here, and that in their realm things move very slowly, and so forth and so on. I don't want to get all convoluted and go long here, but in one of their pictures, my granddaughter, whose name is Valerie, who's named after me, my oldest, she's showing me the rocks, and it just touches me to know that things that I imparted to them, these things will be passed on. Um, it is a great thing to hold on, but it is also a great thing to let go. And we have two hands, and we have to learn that even though things work in opposition of each other, that is the way they were designed in order to benefit us. But we have to look at how they come together, how they come together for the benefit of us all. And that within itself is just so deep. And I'm going to stop talking because I've talked enough. But I just want to say I love you. I love you as I love me, because as I look outside of me, what I know, feel, think, and I see you, and you offer me a mirror that sees, thinks, and feels similar but different from different experiences and intersections and crosshairs and everything else. It's very fascinating to me. And when you allow yourself to get to this stage in your growth and maturation and evolution, you realize how connected you are to everything. And you realize that the injustice with intent. See, some injustices occur because of life's influences, and they are, you can say, accidental, based upon the lack of knowledge that caused them to come into being. Just like when you have two teenagers having sex and exploring sex and feelings, and a child comes forth from that, and it's called a what? An accidental pregnancy. But that child is no accident, because the design was built and made so that a child could be produced from that coitus, from that interaction. We are not accidents. Those that create strife and struggle with the intent of benefiting from it, those are the ones who I have a problem with. Those are the ones I want you to have a problem with. Those are the ones that have been privileged for all this time, put in that place so that they can teach us. We have privileges. Those privileges are our divine birthrights. And if we do not stand up for ourselves, no one will. We cannot change them. We have to change us. We have to work on our own eyesight. And that's in the Bible, you know. Before you can take a straw out of somebody else's, you first have to have your own stuff right. So stop judging. Stop judging. I don't even judge the privileged anymore because they serve a purpose. But you have to oppose that purpose. That is your purpose. To know yourself. And to bring about what you want to be. You want paradise, then you have to create it. You have to manifest it. But first you have to know that you're worthy of it. And your version of it. Okay. Namaste. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Share, please. I am Mutha Wit Wisdom. Again, that name was given to me by Spirit to do exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to be doing much more of this on a deeper, grander, bigger scale. I'm working on it. Things are being moved out of my way. I'm being moved out of my own way. And it's coming the way it's supposed to come. And I will always do my best to speak and be from a place of light and love. Because that's what is needed and necessary in the darkness of our evolution. So, with saying that, I am going to say thank you. And today has been a very magical day for many of us because things are penetrating and they're hitting home and we're recognizing and awakening in different levels to where we need to be. And in saying that, in the directions that we need to go. So if you see me sitting up here with my red and looking all gothy, I wanted to show you my shirt. Isn't this a cool shirt? This shirt is a phoenix with a black rose with snakes twined through the rose and the things. And I love it. I love this shirt. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it symbolizes so much to me. And this look is not haphazardly thrown together for me. I asked myself, what do I want to feel? How do I want to empower myself today? What angle am I going to come at this from Spirit? And I sat still, and Spirit says, come from your goth look. Come from your black kitty cat, rebellious self. Allow her to come forward and speak. And so, boom, here she is. And you listen to that aspect of myself. And I like her. I like her. She's bold and she's feisty and non-compliant. There we go. Feisty and non-compliant. And what I wanted to talk about before that I said I had forgotten, and I had not, and it's just bubbling up now. The healthcare system is one of the biggest monopoly markets out there that is being controlled by those of privilege. I want you to understand what it means and what it has meant to America for people to become doctors. Why that is the one of the highest industries, why it is courted, why it is put upon, why it is the most lucrative, why it takes the longest to get there, to become that. And then I want you to understand the different other branches that have come together with the medical field, pharmaceuticals. Okay, the when there are wars, bandages and other medicine and other doctors needed elsewhere, and all of this, it goes hand in hand with the capitalistic integrity of those with privilege, and it needs to be overhauled and looked at. And if you think about what's getting ready and going happening and changing, there are a lot that do not want that overhaul to happen because they have been collecting big time for centuries through that industry. The other one is Hollywood. Do your due diligence. Look at things that have significant capitalistic value and that are privileged and hard to get into. Understand the secret societies, the universities, and the different things that go into the grooming, the mindset of these ones. Not saying that all doctors are bad or all Hollywood people are bad. That's not what I'm saying. Please do not crisscross what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. If you have questions, please ask. I'll answer them. Um, what I'm saying is these forces have been put there, and they have been diversely, put a certain way. I want you to look at um, some of the races, the biggest races that are known to be doctors and actors and behind the scenes and so forth and so on. And I want you to understand the capitalistic, the monetary value, and then the ties that they have. And then, like I said, I want you to start thinking about the earth and what's being stripped from her. And in a way, it's being stripped from her right now is without mercy, is without care of those ancestors and those in the future, as if there will be no future for Earth, as if she's just going to go boom. So let's get everything we can get right now. I want you to look at that, and I want you to do your due diligence in it, and don't get caught up in the brainwashing and the politics and the so forth and so on. I want you to examine it, to be awake and to be aware, and start discussing these things. Okay, in saying that, I am finally done. I've covered all the ground that Mama wanted me to cover. The rest is up to you. So, I just want to say once again that I love you. I'm so glad to be at a place in my own life journey that I can contribute this way. So I'm pleased. Thank you. Namaste. I love you. Blessings. Be light.